Florida Congressman Ron DeSantis was just in Las Vegas, where he was briefed on the investigation. Congressman, I know you've been on the plane because you were there very late last night. You spent a lot of time on the ground in the city yesterday. What did you learn?
Well, just being on the ground, just a couple observations is one is when you see those broken windows sitting on the street there in front of Mandalay Bay. I mean, it was a chilling feeling to see that. But then the other thing I noticed just being there is Vegas really is back. There was a lot of people walking around and doing what Vegas does. So I actually thought I was encouraged by that. But in terms of the investigation, we've been doing a lot in the Congress on my subcommittee about how people become radicalized and then commit acts of terrorism. And in this case, it's different than any of the other cases we've dealt with, because here we are 5 days later almost, and we still don't have really a good sense at all as to why this individual did what he did.
People are dumbfounded by that. How can we be 5 days later and still not have a motive for this shooter?
Part of it is he didn't leave an obvious trail. He was reclusive in terms of where he lived in Mesquite. You know, he wasn't really doing much that his neighbors could observe. The authorities are, though, going to be looking at all his electronic devices, and so that's going to take a few days. But any phones, computers, any of those instances, they're going to have to go back and document his travel. His brother said that he hadn't talked to him in 6 months. As you know, ISIS has claimed responsibility for this. Now, there's not evidence to back that up, but they claim this conversion happened in the last 6 months. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I think that's something that has to be looked at. Was he going to the Philippines? Was he going some of these places? And did something trigger this inside of him? But those questions, in terms of the amount of evidence to answer that, it's probably as little as I've seen in any of these instances this far out.
Do you believe he acted alone or had help? The sheriff seems to think there's no way he could have pulled this off on his own.
So talking with some folks, I mean, there are different views on that. I would just note that he was barricaded in that suite, and so it wouldn't have been an obvious escape for somebody if they were actually there with him at that point. He may have had some assistance before then, but I think they're trying to still get all those pieces to the puzzle. I mean, I'm thinking about, are there firing ranges near his home that he was practicing? I mean, I don't know how good of a shot he was, but people probably would have observed him at some point. So I think there's just going to be a lot of questions that are going to need to be asked. And look, if he had a Facebook page where he had ISIS propaganda or he had other stuff, it would be a lot easier, but that's just not what he left.
It's somewhat boggling that we don't know really or haven't seen what has come out of any of those devices yet. I have to get your take on tax reform. We're ending a big week here, and tax reform is an aggressive part of the president's agenda. Listen to Paul Ryan real quick, and I want to get your thoughts.
We know that if we get our tax code fixed, if we make America more competitive, we will have more jobs. We will keep the ones we've got. We will build more, but more importantly, we'll be more prosperous. We'll make more money, and there we can have higher wage growth.
There's a lot of confidence out there this is going to get done. Will it?
Well, I think the House will pass a very good pro-growth tax reform along the lines that the president has outlined. I think
before the end of the year?
Great leadership. The House will do it before the end of the year. Here's the thing, Sandra, you've been following the news. The Senate hasn't proven it could get very much done. So this is really going to end up being a test for the U.S. Senate. Can you get 50 votes to advance something that's going to be good for taxpayers and good for our economy? I hope the answer is yes, but we will see.
Congressman DeSantis, you've had a busy, long night. Thanks for jumping on with us. Good to see you.
Congratulations on your new show.